Is there such a thing as too much money?
I believe there is. I believe at a
Ooh, I
certain
love this
point.
because I disagree. And so
And
I
no,
was
no,
like,
that's okay.
we're gonna have a great conversation.
That's the
I
personal
was
and
like,
personal finance, though,
I
right?
was
Like, I
ooh,
teach not my kids, but my students that. I'm like, you may not agree 100%
yeah,
with what I say, but you have to remember that my perspective on money has been shaped by my life
yeah.
experiences.
So let's unpack this because I
Okay,
really want.
yes.
Okay, you said yes, so you go into that.
So the example I gave is my grandparents had worked very, very hard all their lives to provide for their children. They had a large family. They had 7 kids, and I think by the time my grandmother passed, like 15 grandkids and going on like a dozen great grandkids or
Okay,
something like
yeah,
that.
big family.
And they lived a very modest life, and it was always about family and community. And in January of 2021, my grandmother passed away. And when she died, there were 30 plus family members in the room with her. She died in her home.
Oh
Like
wow.
she didn't want to be in a hospital. She
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
be
yeah.
home,
With
comfortable
mm-hmm.
with her family. And it was one of those moments where I look back and I'm like, well, if I had to look back, if I'm 89 years old and I'm looking back on my life, yeah, that's what I want when I go. I want to be surrounded by the people I love, and hopefully I touch them all in a positive way, the way my grandmother did for each and every person in that room.
Yeah.
I had a very close friend whose grandmother actually died a couple months after my grandmother in March of
Interesting.
2021.
Yeah.
And this friend's grandparents, they had also worked very hard in life, but their focus was to accumulate wealth. And in doing so, they burned a lot of bridges among their family members. So between those grandparents, the grandfather had passed away a few years prior, and the grandmother actually spent most of her last couple years of life alone in her gigantic house, surrounded by all her luxuries,
Yeah.
but didn't have a whole lot of family coming to visit her. And when she passed, my friend wasn't even by his grandmother's side.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things where you think about money. It should be a means to get you what you need and a little bit of fun in life.
Yeah.
But after that point, it's not about how much you can accumulate. It's about how much of an impact you can have on other people in your lifetime. When you look back at your life, are you going to be happy to have had all that money? Because you're not going to take it with you.
Right.
Or would you be happy that you helped others or that you lived a very fulfilling life?
Yeah. What I like to say is, enrich to get rich.
Okay.
Because my whole thing is that, I mean, I would love to be a billionaire. I mean, I would not say no to that, but at what cost? You know. So, and I love everything that you're saying, and so in my point of view is impact before income, like you're saying, but the more that I have, the more impact that I can have. So in my mind, I'm thinking too much money. I'm like, no, I don't think that there could be too much, so long as it is not at the expense of relationships, values, and what you believe at your core, And so I obviously nobody gets to the end of their life and is like, man, I wish that I would have just made a little bit more money. It's I wish that I had, like you said,
I'd spent more time with my kids while they were
family.
growing up, or I wish I had helped out the homeless more or something.
Right. And so in my point of view, I'm like, yeah, if I have more, I take care of myself, and then I'm comfortable, I have enough to have fun, and then beyond that, I go, okay, well then, like I wanna do more to help. Not that we shouldn't help homeless or help people until we have wealth, but it just allows you to do more of those good things.
When I teach my workshops and I talk about donating, I talk about donating in 3 different forms:
Yeah.
time, treasure, and talents.
Ooh.
So a lot of folks think that they have to have a lot of money in order to give back, but that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot more people making impact who don't have a lot of money simply by going out and helping at the food bank. I mean, my grandpa started doing that after he retired. He found out I had started working at the David and Lucille Packard Foundation and how they're all about charitable work.
Awesome.
And so every Tuesday, my 91-year-old grandpa gets up and he goes to the food bank and hands out food to people in need in the Bay Area.
That's awesome.